Welcome back to Pet Sitter Confessional, an open and honest discussion about life as a pet sitter. Today, we're brought to you by our friends at Time to Pet and Dog Co. Launch. Sitter safety and business liability are a big topic as we look to grow, scale, and add people to our business. And there's a lot of ways that we can go about controlling and monitoring and keeping track of how things are going. And so today, I'm really excited to talk to Stacy, owner and founder of Abby's Animal Sitters and Dog Walkers, on the show to talk about measures that she goes through and the importance that this has to her business. Stacy, I'm really excited to be talking with you today and have you on the podcast. For those who aren't familiar with you, though, could you please tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Yes. So my name is Stacy Aguilar, and I own Abby's Animal Sitters and Dog Walkers. We are located in Washington Township, Gloucester County, New Jersey, which is just outside of Philadelphia. We focus on mostly dog walking. We do some pet sitting, and the three things that set us apart in our area is that we've won a lot of awards locally, which is really exciting, and it's lovely for our team. We're also, our entire team is fear-free certified. And lastly, we're the only company in the area that use body cameras. So we'll be talking about that, I think, in a little bit.
Yes, I'm very excited to dive into that. But the most pressing question is, I noticed your name is not Abby. So where did the name come from?
It's a funny story. So, my daughter Abby, when she was 12 years old, she, as most teenagers do, she started becoming very expensive, liking a lot of, wanting to do a lot of things. So we decided to get her babysitting certified and CPR certified so she could babysit. And then she found out pretty quickly that she, at that time, did not like babysitting children. So we had to pivot. So we pivoted to pet care. So she started to have a pet care business. And at that time, I was actually interviewing for like 18 months. My background is in marketing and public relations. And I was just so tired of interviewing and not landing a job that when we started this adventure together, it was very obvious that this was a needed service in the community. So we just started growing it. And so that's why it's called Abby's Animal Sitters, because it's named after Abby, because she kind of really started it.
Oh, that is really, really fun. As a way to offset some of the expenses as she was growing up. And so your background, you said, is public relations and marketing, though. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now that sounds pretty important into running a business, though, right? And
it's so helpful. Let me tell you, it is helpful. So I just find that because of my background in marketing and communications, like I'm very fearless when it comes to marketing. So it does very much come in handy for sure.
Yeah. Well, so those early days, you said you felt like there was that need for this business. What were those early signs that you were seeing?
We made $25,000 the first year in business.
Okay, that's a sign. That makes sense.
And Collin, I was a serial entrepreneur. I have not worked for another person since I was 28 years old. And so to make that much money that quickly, it was like, oh yes, this is a necessary service. And so we just ran with it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Now, I know you mentioned kind of where you're located. What's the market like for where you're serving, kind of what the needs, the demands of the clients there?
Yeah, so I did a little research before our time together, Collin. So I was like, oh, that's an interesting question. Let me find out before I go on. And Washington Township, we're actually like a upper middle class area here. Where I live specifically in Turnersville, I found that the average home income is $150,000, which was very surprising to me. So then it became clear as to why the need was so great, because people work really hard for that money and they're out of their house for a long period of time. So they need pet sitters and dog walkers, and they have the money to spend.
Right.
So yeah, it's been awesome to market here.
So, you made 25,000 in the first year. How did you continue to connect with those clients and grow?
The first years, Collin was really word of mouth. I mean, as we started, people just started passing me around. So Abby was still very much involved with the business, but she was doing a lot of like in-home care, like people would bring their dog, like friends and family and stuff like that. And I was doing a lot of the boots on the ground dog walking, and people were just passing us. So referrals back then were really, and word of mouth were really how we started.
Yeah. Well, and they are so essential because I mean it's a very powerful thing to be recommended from one person to the next. And I know I often take that for granted of, well, just tell me to your friends, right? Just tell, why are like,
Yes.
But it's like that person's putting their reputation on the line
Yes.
to
Yes.
share about this. Because
Yes.
if you have a bad experience about something they recommended, that reflects on them, right? And so that's
Right.
just something that we really need to remember, that it's not easy for everybody to do that.
Yeah, yeah. I have very generous clients, and yeah, and we would leave marketing materials behind. I always would leave lots of cards and stuff behind. So of course, I made it easier for to recommend me. And yeah, so yeah, that's how we started. But it kind of evolved over the years. When we got into the years of COVID, I started in 2017.
Okay.
And when we got into the years of COVID, our business flatlined. We never went down. We just flatlined, which is interesting because people weren't working outside the home and they weren't traveling. So at that time, it was a lot of medical workers and a lot of police officers. But we flatlined, and it was at that time that I hired an office manager. I've learned being in dog co that most people do office manager later on, but I did that right away, and I just told her to build me a Google page, and I told her to build me some social media, and she's amazing at it. She's so good. Holy smokes. So now we track where all of our leads come from, and most of them do come from Facebook now. And second place is Google, and third place, and which is still heavy, is the referrals.
It's you mentioned Facebook. Facebook and Google kind of go back and forth for a lot of people. Why do you think? What is it about Facebook that you believe that's connecting with people for you?
Yeah, so my office manager, first of all, she's amazing. I highly recommend going on her Facebook page. And I'm not just shooting at the wind. She is really, really good. She's funny, and we have 11,000 followers. I don't even know how that happened. She's so good, and she's so funny. So, but she's also, her name is Donna, and Donna is also very active in the neighborhood groups, the Facebook neighborhood groups. So she's always, posting our little ads in the neighborhood groups, and also looking out for folks that are saying, "Hey, I need a dog walker. Do you know anybody?" So, so the Facebook is awesome, and her advertising is proactive, and her looking for people that have a need is super proactive. So that's why I think we do so well on Facebook.
What was it about the office manager position that you decided you wanted to hire that first? Because like you said, that tends to be something where people get later down the line, and you just went, nope, I need this right now.
I'm lazy.
Oh, no.
There was a lot of stuff I didn't want to do. She was willing.
That's fair. I think too often we think, what's the logical progression of what I'm supposed to do, versus that real assessment that you did, Stacy, of like, I don't want to do this. So who else could I do? And that sounds like that at least freed you up and allowed you to not carry that mental burden around to do.
Yeah, she does so much for me. And as I had mentioned, I have not worked for anybody since I was 28 years old. I was a serial entrepreneur. So this is not the first time she's helped me. So,
okay.
She's been traveling with me over the years, and I hired her as my office manager, again, because I'm very lazy, and there's a lot of things I don't, and she's very good. She's very detailed, and I am not. So that's why I chose to do that first.
Well, something I love, you can let her know, something I love about your social media is the face shots that you post of all of the dogs and pets that you're caring for, they're the
Yes.
most engaging, like charismatic shots. I don't know how you have so many of these, but it's just like, it's so pleasant to scroll through and look at, and just makes you feel good as you're scrolling. And it's like, these are cute dogs, but it's the up close, the face, like it fills the frame and really makes it captivating from that. So
Honestly, that's just our team. They clearly love what they do, and that is how they show that they love what they do, by just taking these amazing photos. And then Donna takes those amazing photos and creates super funny photo captions, and that is our Facebook page. Yeah.
No, that's so you hired office manager. When did you have field staff at that time that you were bringing on? When did that process come into play?
So 2020 is when I hired Donna, and 2022. So all right, so we flatlined during COVID, and then when COVID, the travel restrictions lifted, we got clobbered. I did not see my husband for 3 months. We just got clobbered because a lot of the smaller dog walking companies, decided to do other things. And, and I was one of the last dog walking companies standing after COVID. So after I got clobbered again, I'm lazy. I didn't want to work 24/7. So I made the choice that we were going to let the business grow as much as it wanted to. So anytime we started turning people away because we didn't have enough space, we would bring on more staff. So so now it's anytime that I'm out in the field too much, then we bring them, because again, I'm lazy, Collin. So anytime I'm out in the field too much, then we start bringing on new staff. And right now we just hired number 12 yesterday.
12. That's
yes,
awesome.
Amy. I'm very, very excited for Amy. Yeah, number 12.
Yeah, no, that's really exciting. And you said that phrase, just decide to let the business grow as much as it wanted to. I mean, what was it about that time where you just said, okay, reins off, let's see where this goes?
I was having a lot of fun. It was clear that we were making a difference in the community, that this is something that people needed. We had a lot of really just awesome clients. Like this one client, her husband was deployed for a year. They had small children at home, and they just needed help, and a lot of different stories like that. It just it felt good that we were clearly making a difference in people's homes. And then as the business grew, it became clear that we were also making a difference in the community by hiring, women that needed money and men. We're an equal opportunity employer. We just happen to have a female staff at this time. But so it was clear that we were spreading a lot of positivity, a lot of joy, and fulfilling a need with the community and fulfilling a need with our staff. And it just works out nicely for everybody.
Have you heard of Time to Pet? Dan from NYC Pooch has this to say.
Time to Bet has been a total game changer for us. It's helped us streamline many aspects of our operation, from scheduling and communication to billing and customer management. We actually tested other pet sitting softwares in the past, but these other solutions were clunky and riddled with problems. Everything in Time to Pet has been so well thought out. It's intuitive, feature-rich, and it's always improving.
If you're looking for new pet sitting software, give Time to Pet a try. Listeners of our show will save 50% off your first 3 months by visiting timetopet.com/confessional. That mindset that you have about your business, right? You've said, let it grow, and we're doing these things. I mean, did that develop for you at all, or have you always viewed your business as this other thing that you're there for?
Yeah, and our business is a living, breathing entity. It really is. And it brings it. I feel, I hope this doesn't, of course I'm biased, but I feel like our business brings a lot of people joy. Like it helps a lot of people. And so it just comes back. And when you think of your business like that, it just comes back to you.
No, it really does, especially when you just take that step back to think of the impact that you're having. And I love that perspective, Stacy, because I know, like, the first month, I'll never forget this, where we wrote our payroll check was more than like I had ever made in a month with a normal jobby job. It was like,
That's
whoa,
awesome.
like, oh my gosh, like this is like what? Like what is happening? Like what is what have we done? But
it's funny because you're giving that maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm a very bad business owner, but I love when the payroll is so big because it's like it's helping people,
Yeah. And to, like you said, Stacy, it's helping people, as in it's helping my team, but it's also helping my clients. And and having that, keeping that forefront in everything that we do. It's also important for the team too. I've noticed is we're continually keeping them connected to the importance of their work. And it's I don't know how you do this. I know how we do, of like reminding things of, hey, such and such just booked, just so that you aware, we're getting on the schedule. She's needing to go to, to fly to go see her dad who's in the hospital. We'll be taking care of their pets. Like just these little things. Cause I know from my time working a jobby job, it's, well, I walk in and there's just work for me to do. And I never want it to feel like I'm just putting things on your plate because it's more and more work for you to do.
Yes. Did you go to the Joey Coleman thing?
I did.
The Dog Summit?
I did.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah. No, at that, like, that really impacted me to think about of what were we doing okay, what were we needing to do better, and really just like what I know Megan and I have focused on a lot of is just like connect them to the reason. Because when I can walk in there and like if I've got all the backstory and history of this client locked up in my head, I act differently. But if somebody doesn't have the history, back knowledge, and reason for why we're there, like you kind of slough off. And so we've worked really hard to like connect them to the person, because it is a people business as much as we play with pets. And that's what that's about.
That's great. I love that you do that. That's awesome.
And so you're growing this team. When did the fear-free start entering this equation? Because that's not common either.
Yeah. So I have this built inside of me that I'm very safety minded, super duper safety minded. And there's a lot of safety issues when you're working with animals, when you're going into homes and they mom and dad are not home, and the animal might be meeting you for the first time. So I personally did the fear-free and certification, and then after that I'm like, no, we need to have everybody do the fear-free certification. Keeps everybody safe for sure.
It does, especially when you're acting all on the same page. I think that's what's also really powerful, of when that pet knows, okay, new people will do X, Y, Z. It also makes that bonding and relationship happen a lot faster for all. Because are you fully team based, or are you doing more primary person with secondary backups and that kind of stuff?
No, we're fully team based. So if any client says I must have this person, I said, oh, let me refer you out to somebody that can do it.
Yeah. And that kind of like, we talk about like standardization of what we do and how we do it, but that animal behavior is also, that has to be dialed in and nailed for our interactions, especially when you're fully team-based, because we are as well. And it's like, any one of us needs to be able to walk in and safely do this. So there's like the pre-screening process to make sure that they're comfortable with that. But then it does fall to us, because we're dealing with living, breathing animals. Like, you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's true. And just for them to have that knowledge and what to look for and the signs and symptoms of fear, stress, and anxiety, it's super helpful, because then they kind of know. And I see the progression, like when we don't do the certification until a team member's been with us for 3 months. Okay. And you can see the evolution, because, they're meeting dogs for the first time going, oh, yay. And I'm like, oh. You see, and once they've had a few months of experience, they're like, oh, I should not do that, and they kind of learn where their mistakes are.
Yeah, well, we have to remember, a lot of people who like we hire and work with, the only pets that they've interacted with have been their own pets.
Their own. That's true.
And so, of course you just come in and rub the belly and get in their face. And isn't that great? I'll just stand there real quietly. I need you to step back and remember that's not how we do that. Because they just fall back. You just fall back to what you're accustomed to. What's my default? What's my what's my foundation here? And then we have to kind of suss that out and go, okay, how's this person interacting? What's this? Here's the base layer. I mean, you have a lot of training that you have your employees go through. Have you ever gotten pushback from an employee saying, "Hey, I already know all this, or this isn't necessary for me"?
They probably wouldn't stay very long if that was the case. Because we do things with safety and care in mind. And if, a potential employee is resistant to that, then it might not be a good fit. And it's good to know that early on.
Yeah. I mean, how are you screening for that? Because being teachable is something that is so foundational. What's your secret here, Stacy? I'm taking notes. Thank you.
No, that's So the first thing we do when we bring a team member on is we do a phone interview, and that's really like a gut check. Like, if just based on how that conversation goes, then we'll move them to the next level. And for us, the next level is doing a ride along job interview. And basically they just hop in the car with me. They don't go inside people's homes with me, but they do join me on dog walks, in the public space. And that really does give you a good idea of how they are around animals, and if they are teachable and trainable. You can only put a mask on for so many hours.
You wear them down, Stacy.
so usually they're with me for like 2 or 3 hours, and I have a pretty good idea who they are after that. But before we invite them to be a part of our team, we do ask for professional references. They can't be family or friends. They have to be people that they work with. And we do ask those references very specific questions about the teachability, about how they respond to coaching, that kind of thing. Because we want to find out early on if it's not going to be a good match together. And usually with those 3 phases, we have a great team. And I think it's because we do all that work.
I absolutely love that. I know very early in our hiring, we thought, okay, well, we just need to have somebody who has got all the skills already. And we'll just hire the skills. But boy, howdy, that was tough to work through for us, because all of a sudden it was oh, no, I need you to do this. Oh, no, actually you need to do it this way. And, oh, could you, but that took Megan and I really trying to understand, what is it about us and what we do? And I just need this other person to be receptive. And
right. Yes, that's it.
I just need you to be receptive. And this is what excellence looks like. This is the standard that I'm holding you to. And I'll bring you to that. But I do need you to be along for the ride and not just dragging your heels in the whole way.
Yeah. For us, that's checking those references, because that will come out. Yeah. We ask them the same question differently. Somebody's going to tell on you.
And that's a step that is easy to, like, checking references. That does take time, right? You've got to call people, track them down, get them on the phone. You got but it's another example of this little bit of in the context of the employer-employee relationship. That little bit of time spent doing the pre-checks will save so much on the back end.
Yes, hiring is expensive, and it is not an inexpensive, process. So, after doing, some research, I found that it costs our company about $1,000 for every employee that we hire. Because I have a senior team member doing all the training, so there's paying, for that, and all of the equipment and all of the fear-free certification. So it's not an inexpensive investment. So just taking that little bit of time to check references, is going to help you on the back end of that.
Now, when did you start adding in the body cameras?
That actually, I started as a solo. When I was a solo dog walker, I kind of like looked at a lot of different dog walking Facebook groups, and I noticed that a lot of dog walking companies in the UK were using body cameras. And I was like, why is that beneficial? Like,
Yeah.
why would anyone use a body camera, And then as I was working my day, I had a dog. I had a dog for 3 years, a client dog that snapped at me. And when I talked to the owner about it, I was made to feel that either it didn't happen or maybe I did something to deserve it. Do you know what I'm saying? So I was like, at that moment, I was like, that's why those people have those body cameras.
Uh-huh.
And then we had another experience where I was servicing a client, and she would hide a key for us, and it was a shared key that other folks were using, like, housekeeper, the mom, whatever. And it went missing one day, and I had to rekey her whole house because I couldn't prove it wasn't me. So anyway, after that experience that I actually got the body camera. And now everybody on our team uses the body cameras.
And now a word from Michelle with Dogco Launch.
What does it take to scale your pet care business? My name's Michelle Collin. I'm the founder of Dogco Launch, where pet care companies come to grow and scale. And I want to send you a case study of how one of my clients took his monthly revenue in just 1 year from $17,000 to over $73,000. And yes, that is monthly revenue, not annual. To get this case study and to learn more about Dogco and what we do and how we help companies, go to dogcolaunch.com/case study.
That's I think a lot of people may think, well, I'll just take a photo of something with my phone, right, to document. But like for the key missing, well, there's a whole lot of information and time that one single photo can't and will never be able to capture, right?
Everything. And even the dog snapping,
yeah, like there's no way that you can get that in real time for that. So, I mean, how does that work into your policies then, as far as like training employees on that to be comfortable wearing that kind of thing?
Gotcha. So, I mean, I thought about this a lot, Collin, because, I've had this as, body cameras as a solo, so when I interview people, I introduce that right along in the phone interview. So it's, if they're not okay with it, then that's part of the screening process for us, So, but I was spending a lot of time thinking, because I know a lot of your listeners do not use body cameras, and maybe they would want to introduce it. So I was trying to think of some ways that might make it comfortable for an existing team. And, one of the things that, I have found that surprised us about using the body cameras, yes, it does reduce liability, and yes, it does increase our security. But one thing was a surprise benefit is it is a major marketing tool. Like, we advertise it when we are on those Facebook groups that we use the body cameras, and even when I go to like networking groups and I do talks for the folks there, like as soon as we share about the body camera, like you see people's expressions change. Like when I'm at the meet and greets and we talk about the body cameras, you see their expressions change. So I have found it to be most beneficial as a marketing tool, because when you're in people's homes, you're working with their animals, you're among their personal, their home, and it shows that you are super accountable and super trustworthy, that you're willing to use a body camera to prove it.
Yeah. There's that mindset of that I know I'll have. Well, of course I'm not going to take anything. We would never take anything. We'd never touch anything.
Yes.
But the client doesn't know that, right? The client, the community doesn't know that. And especially if you're going into a fully team-based approach where you're going to have multiple people do. I know for us, when we're fully team-based and a pet sitting company, so there may be 6, 7, 8 different people on that visit if you're traveling for an extended period of time. And that's how do we start getting peace of mind with that client and give them confidence in us and all. And there's only so many words I can say, right? Like I can only say, no, just trust me, bro. Like that doesn't, that's not going to work. And so so as far as like policies with those cameras, is it start it and stop with like when they start the visits? Do they leave it running the entire time they're out in the field? I mean, how do they actually use the cameras?
Yeah, so these are our cameras. I know that the folks listening in can't see them, but
what kind are they? I know people are going to ask.
That's a good question. I put hold on, I have to take the sticker off because we number them because there's so many sale. But it is Cam Pro. Okay. Cam Pro. I get them right on Amazon. Yeah. So there's there's some that can hold up to 2 weeks worth of data. So, but the staff members, they put it on in the morning and when they start their day, and they turn it off in the afternoon. And of course they're easily able to start and stop, so if they have to, visit a restroom or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Yeah. And is that something like now the recordings? I have a very practical question on this because, okay, you've got 12 team members. They're out, they're doing stuff. They've got the storage on the camera. Do they turn it into an office, upload it to the cloud? What's that process like?
Gotcha. So I actually have a cooler on my porch. Because the cameras, the batteries get wonky when it's too hot or it's too cold. So there's an indicator that tells them that it's getting full. So when that indicator, is telling them that, then they just come to my home and they throw it in the cooler, and then they can pick up their poop bags because I have a bunch of supplies in there as well. So. And then my husband, we have an external hard drive. My husband that's his part of it. That's the only part of the business that he works in. But he empties everything into our external hard drive, and we only keep the footage for 30 days. After 30 days, we purge it. We don't keep it forever. But yeah. So and then the staff member, they'll either come and pick it up the next day, or if I'm out and about, then I'll just deliver it to their house. But yeah, so that's a system we've built around it.
Well, and I think it's important just to really think through this about, things that we unintentionally say yes to okay, if you want to get a body camera, you're going to have to be able to store the footage. Now I've got to buy someplace to store the footage. I've got to have a process for bringing that in. I've got to get a process for purging it and getting it put back out and back into service. Like this just becomes one of those little process loops that sometimes we may think, I'll go, oh, well, that's an absolutely brilliant idea, but I don't quite link all the things together and just understand, there's a little bit of back end work to have this out there and operating in the field.
It's not that bad though. The benefits definitely outweigh what the process is. And they drop it off, and then within an hour or so we can have it back out there for them. It's not that bad of a deal. Yeah. So we just we plug it into our computer, and then it just does its uploading thing, and then once it's done, we throw it back outside, and then they can pick it up, or we can drop it off, whatever we decide works best for that particular camera.
Have you ever had any clients request that they not be on during a visit or inside the home?
Only once. Yep. And I told her that I would give her a referral for another business because this is how we do things. Yeah. Because it's like I said, we're very safety and security minded. And, if something happens inside of her home, outside of her home, I'm not going to be held liable for that. And my staff is not going to be held liable for that. So it's clear that we're not a good match. Here's a list of, other companies that might be a better match for you.
Yeah. It's that. What am I also part of this decision too, Stacy? I'm hearing it's like, what am I willing to, what hill am I going to die on with this? Right. It's like, if I really am the safety and security company over here, if that's really what I'm founded on, and a client asks me to not, the client said so it's fine. Or like you, it says, no, then we're not a good fit for you. This is our standard.
Yeah.
And we can't go below that. And really going, this is what it means to set those high standards and then stick to them, regardless of what the clients are asking you to do.
Right. And the funny thing is, in that particular instances, she had cameras everywhere.
So it's fine for her. She wanted to watch you, right? Yeah, I get it. I know, whatever. So since having them, you mentioned 2 examples of why you wanted to have them. Since having them, have they come in handy?
Yeah. When you are out in the field, sometimes a loose dog comes at you. So you have, documentation about that. We had somebody fall and break her arm. We had somebody get a dog bite to the face. So there, Honestly, Colin, I look at some of the Facebook groups, just the dog walking professional Facebook groups, and some of the things that people are challenged with that they're seeking advice. 95% of the time, a body camera would have fixed the problem. Like whenever I look at those websites, or the Facebook groups, my reply comment is 1001 reason why I use a body camera.
Well, I'm even thinking of, you mentioned the off-leash dog. This happened to us recently. We don't currently use body cameras, but I do have it pulled up on Amazon over here on the screen. And I trying to dissect exactly what happened with that employee after the fact and figure out, is there, like, I'm just coming from a practical standpoint of also, like, this provides a lot of great training opportunities to team members. Hey, I saw, there was this incident, you handled that perfectly and directly with training. Oh, I saw this incident. Don't forget to blah, 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 blah. Like when they come up, it provides a lot of good opportunities with you in that.
Yeah. I would add though, Colin, is that I do not use it for that purpose. Okay. I think in my mindset that if the staff thought that I was looking in on them, I think that there would be more pushback about it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So I've been employing body cameras since 2022, and I have never once looked at the footage unless something happened that caused an expense to our business. And I think that for the folks that are listening and they're wondering how that they could, work this with their introduce this to their staff members. I think the best way to introduce it is to make sure that they know that you're not going to be the eye in the sky, that you're not the big brother, that it's really, to increase, their security and to reduce liability issues.
Yeah. And I think I was just thinking of, in those instances where you do have something come up, you can look back at that footage, and you maybe if you are, like you said, there's an expense, you can also talk about it.
For sure.
People
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Or if you get a phone call, from a client that, something happened, then you can quietly, kind of look at it. But just I don't just look at it randomly. I've never done that.
14 screens just playing it on loop around you in your office. Okay, that's understood.
I don't have that kind of time.
I don't want
to. I don't.
That makes a lot of sense. Stacy, what does Abby think of the business now that she unintentionally started all those years ago?
Oh gosh, I have to ask her that question. She's actually, she's in college now. So she lives at school. She comes home, on the weekends in the summertime, and she works with me. But I'm incredibly proud of her. And, one thing that I wanted to share about what it's like to work with my children.
Yeah.
If that's okay. But you interview a lot of folks. I don't know if a lot of folks do work with their kids, like that have them as staff members. Not so much.
Yeah.
For us, it's been such a blessing. It's been so awesome. Do you have kids, Collin?
Yes, we have an 8 and 10-year-old.
Okay. So do you remember the time when they were just like little meatloafs that just slept 20 hours a day, and then suddenly they got to a certain age, and all of a sudden there was a personality, and you could kind of see the human being they were going to become in the future? Do you remember that?
Yes.
With your kids?
I do. Absolutely.
Working with your kids, it's like the adult version of that.
Yeah.
You get this awesome perspective of who they're going to be as adult workers that you might not see otherwise, Yeah. So that's been an awesome part of working with both of my girls work with me. They're both W-2 employees. Yeah.
Oh,
it's been fun. Yeah.
That is a lot of fun too. Okay. It is something to be able to watch them grow, like you said, into a full-fledged person and individual, and see where strengths are, see where weaknesses are, see the personalities of the development. And that happens, that's nonstop. And I think about that too, of me watching my kids develop and grow into something and who they're going to be. And I'm still changing. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure out what on earth I'm doing too. Right? Everybody's in that same boat, and it's wonderful to be able to do that together, right, with your kids. I think it's so beautiful.
Yeah, and you see pieces of their professional personalities that you would not see otherwise,
Yeah.
Yeah. So my one daughter, Abby, she is hilarious. She is so funny. Like, the pictures that she takes are comical. I mean, she does them to make the people laugh.
Sure.
And then my other daughter, Sophia, she is very structured. She wants to be on time. She wants to do it right. She wants to, she's just very like, if something goes wrong, she really takes that to heart. She really wants to do a good job. So, yeah, so it's just been really fun to kind of have them as coworkers, to see, those pieces of their personalities that you might miss otherwise.
Oh, I love that. That's so cool, Stacy. And Stacy, I want to thank you for coming on the show today and for sharing with us your journey in business, how you keep safety focused and central to everything that you do, and encouraging us to look at our businesses in that same light. For those who want to follow along, see the cool Facebook and social media that Donna's got going on, and those adorable photos of all the pets, how best can they do that and get connected with you and pick your brain on body cameras and all that stuff too?
Sure, they can hop on our Facebook page. Just go to Facebook and they can search Abby's Animal Sitters and Dog Walkers. Will come right up. And then also you can Google us. We have a Google page, and you can come to our website and message us through there. So yeah, a few different ways.
Okay. Well, I will have those links in the show notes so people can get connected and start following along and get in touch with you, Stacy. This has been just an absolute pleasure and such a joy. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Collin.
What does it mean to keep professionalism and protection and security central in our business? What does that look like for you? As we look to set ourselves apart in a radically different way from an ever increasingly crowded market, where do we find our differentiation? And three things can be true at the same time. We can be differentiated from others. We can provide security and protection for our employees, and we can give our clients peace of mind. One of the secrets in business is that where there is the most overlap are the places where we have the most power and ability to make change. Just as we look to cover ourselves and protect ourselves from liability, as well as giving clients peace of mind, as well as protecting our team, as well as differentiating ourselves. And whatever that is for you and your business, where you have overlaps and multiple benefits across various aspects of what we do, when we focus on those, that's where we have the biggest impact. That's where we can elicit and make the most difference in our business and in our lives, in the lives of our team, and the clients in our community as well. That's the power of this. When we think in that way, it really unlocks a lot of potential. So yes, it is about the body cams, and those take some discussion and implementing well, and the logistics and monitoring and all the oversight and everything that goes along with that. But also, where else can we do that in our business? Where else can we both maintain our professionalism, push that envelope, while also focus on security and safety? We'd love to hear from you and get your feedback on how you are doing this in your business. You can send that to petsitterconfessional@gmail.com. Also, we're everywhere on social media at PetSitterConfessional. We want to thank today's sponsors, Time to Pet and Dog Co. Launch, for making this show possible. And we really want to thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.